Welcome back. Right now I'm feeling some major hometown pride because the filmmakers from this next film, which is part of the Sundance Shorts series, they're from Albuquerque as well, and I can't wait to get started talking to you guys. Shaandiin, how are you doing?
Doing well.
Excellent. How are you?
Great.
Excellent. We have Shaandiin, who is the writer and director, and we have Aroonsri, who is the producer.
Yes.
Excellent. So tell me a little bit about background on the film.
So we started this film at the beginning of last year through the Sundance Native and Indigenous Fellowship, and we were awarded the fellowship, which is a grant along with mentorship, and then decided that we were going to shoot and try to finish it by the deadline. So that's background on the film as how it's come about, but the film for me came about with my own family members being affected by alcoholism and a couple of them dying of exposure death, which is a thing that happens frequently on the Navajo Nation. On the Navajo Nation, you aren't allowed to have alcohol, and so a lot of people go to these things called border towns, and Gallup, New Mexico, where we shot, is one of those border towns. Yeah, they drink and then they end up trying to go home, and they strip off their clothes with the sensation of being warm and end up passing away.
It's very heavy subject, but it's something that needs to be talked about because coming from New Mexico and coming from Albuquerque, these are themes and concepts that I'm all too familiar with, and it's very sad. And I'm very proud that you guys are representing a community and a voice who's not often heard, and especially in this industry. And how does it feel to be a Native American and Navajo filmmaker? I'm sure you feel a lot of pride doing this.
Yeah, there's a lot of support from the community, and I mean, we've gotten so much support from Gallup, New Mexico, and really everyone who's just excited about the film, and it is a topic that does need to be addressed, and I think a lot of people are standing behind that, which is the kind of reception that I was hoping for, because with such a heavy topic, you could definitely go the wrong way.
Absolutely, I agree, but I think you guys did the opposite of that. You guys went the right way, and you guys are highlighting the stories that matter, and these are real life situations in the Navajo Nation and a lot of other Native American nations all across the country. This is a huge epidemic in which, I mean, it's taking a lot of lives that don't need to be taken.
Yeah, and I think that it's not just the Native Americans as well. Oh, go ahead.
Is that you know, addiction is something that hits everyone.
Absolutely.
And so even though this one is particularly a Navajo story, I think anyone can really relate to it because I think all around the world people are dealing with
It is very
addiction.
universal. I completely agree with that. It's absolutely universal. And for you as a producer, what made you want to go through with this project and really and see it to the end?
So first of all, Shaandiin is a really good friend of mine.
Okay.
So I was like, yes, I'll definitely do
Absolutely.
it. But she's really talented and great, and there's this one scene in the script that totally moved me, and it's still in this short. And the story just needs to be told, and she's a woman, and I want to elevate all of our fellow female filmmakers to do that. So the Navajo Nation, dealing with that issue, I feel like we're kind of really not giving enough attention to it, and so Shaandiin is bringing it up, and we're at least talking about it now, and that's really, really good.
And even though it is a hard discussion to have, it's one that needs to be talked about, and through your film you're kind of bringing up that discussion and kind of creating discourse around that. The cinematography on the film is really well done as well, but I want to ask you about the title. Where did you get the inspiration for the title of the film?
So mud is mud. Hashklishni means mud clan in Navajo, and in Navajo you're given a set of clans that are kind of like your map to who you are. So my clan is inherited from my mother, and Hashklishni means mud clan. It's one of the original clans. So the idea behind that was that there's differences in culture being Navajo. There's traditional culture and that sort of thing, which is what the clan is tied to, but now there's this modern culture as well with all this generational trauma, this mass genocide, everything that has affected our people, that has kind of stripped us away from that culture. And so essentially that's what Ruby is kind of going through. She's trying to figure out where is her culture, there is this tie to the earth that she has, but at the same time it's it's affecting her. It's making her feel like she's addicted and making her feel like she's stuck. And so mud has two different meanings within the movie.
Yeah, and continue on that is that I think when you're making this film, you're really trying to explore your identity and like you're young and new and like a next generation. So how do you identify with like your background and like who you are now? And this film definitely shows that there's an homage to the origin story of Mud,
Yes.
which is gorgeous, and I think you played really well in that and making that.
Yeah, I do like the cultural significance of both sides of the story, the traditional as well as the modern, and having to deal with these very traditional ways and ways of living in a modern society, and having to kind of adapt with that as well. And I'm really happy that the cast is all from New Mexico as well, correct?
Yeah, so we actually casted from New Mexico, and everyone who's Navajo is Navajo, so that
It's authentic.
It's
It's
authentic.
real.
All of our Indigenous people are portrayed by Indigenous people, and I think that's one of the best parts of this whole entire film is like the community, the amount of people who want to tell their own story. So.
And you guys did a fantastic job. And where will the film be showing and what time?
So we just premiered yesterday, which
Stress
is
relief.
a huge stress relief. And then tomorrow we play in Salt Lake City at, I believe, 3
p.m., yeah.
Tuesday at
It's at
Redstone at 1, and then
Mhm.
Library on Thursday at noon.
Perfect.
Yeah.
Well, I can't wait to see the full version of the film, and I'm really excited to see that. And where can audiences stay up to date with everything that you guys are doing, any projects or anything like that?
Yeah, so we have mudfilm.com,
Yes.
and then we also are on Facebook,
Facebook, yeah.
as Mud short film, I believe, and then
It is.
Instagram and like Facebook, we're both on there for
so
our
if
like
you
own
find,
journey.
If you find one source of like social media, it will link you
It'll
to
link you
everything
to all
else.
of
You'll
them.
find
Pretty
filmmakers
much,
and
yeah.
everything
Well,
else
I know
that
I
you
want to
should
stay up to date with everything that you guys
Yeah.
are doing. I can't wait to see the projects that you guys have coming out in the future. And it was a pleasure meeting the both
Thank
of
you
you.
so
Thank you
much.
so much for
Great.
joining us in the morning show.
you.
Yep. We'll be right back with more Sundance coverage. Stay tuned and don't go anywhere.